this evening, our session will focus on Tamers and Tail Twisters. And our presenter is our very own member of the GLT team, Lion Lavinia Wellington Ford. I am your moderator this evening, your GLT coordinator, Lion Louisiana Jubic. Before we start, we normally ask persons to open up your mic and join us as we recite the Lion's Prayer. Where lions meet, we present, Lord, to weld our hearts with one accord. To do thy will, Lord.
Make us strong to aid the weak
and right the wrongs. I think I got distracted. Apologies. Okay, so good evening again, and allow me to welcome our incoming Tamers and Tail Twisters. We are aware that these positions are no longer elected at club level, but are appointed based on Lions International regulations a few years back. But we do know that they are very much important in the general operations of our club, and we're hoping that this evening's presentation will reiterate the importance of the position of Tamer and Tail Twisters to Lions and Leo clubs. We're hoping that we have a few Leos with us, Lions, Leos, Leo Lions, if there are any, and everyone, good evening and welcome. So without no further ado, let me hand over to our presenter this evening, Lion Lavinia Wellington Ford. Lion Lavinia, take it away.
Thank you so much, Lion. We appreciate it. Good evening or night, depending on where you are, Lions, Leo Lions, and Leos. As Lion Louis just ably introduced me, I'm from Lion Lavinia Wellington Ford, New Kingston Lions Club. And this evening we'll be talking about the important role of tamer and tail twister. Now, those are the two main roles that we'll be talking about, and we'll go into some of the responsibilities. It's not expected that this session will be exhausted, but at least give you a good starting point so that you're able to then pick up from here. I hope that we do have some new tamer tail twister on board. Even if you have done it already and you want a refresher, welcome. Those persons you're not going in the role now, or you're not in it now, but in the future, you think that you have an aptitude for any of these roles and you're here. So I hope that we can have an interactive session as we share together. Now, I want to start off with our standard club structure. As Lion Louis had said in our overview of the session, these roles are not considered ones that are a must-have. So if you look on the standard club structure, the first box at the top, right where you have board of directors and you have that black box, it's basically giving you the optional roles, all other club officers. So these persons will make up part of your operations, but they're not a must-have. However, they do enrich the life of Lions. They do enrich the organization of Lionism and also of your club. So that's one of the reasons why, though optional, they are still important rules to have in your club. And as we go on and share this evening, you feel free to share with me if these roles are how you have them in your club. Do you have them? You don't have them? Do you have them in separate persons, or are they joint? One person do both roles. We're going to start with the lion tamer role first. What do you know about the lion tamer role? Can I have 2 or 3 persons raise their hand, open the mic, and tell me, what do you know about the lion tamer role? Anybody? Don't leave me all by myself here now. Anybody?
Oh, good evening. I am Lion Franco from South Central.
Good evening.
My recollection is that the lion tamer's role is first and foremost to make sure that all um, special guests coming to visit our club are properly met, escorted to their seat, making sure that a proper place has been arranged for them, and also to take possession of all the paraphernalia of the club, and to make sure that the club is the place is properly prepared for meetings and so on and so forth.
Thank you so much, Franco. I think you should have been doing this session. Very good, very good. Anybody else want to add? Now, Louis, are there any hands? Am I missing? Because I'm not seeing in the presenter mode that I am. Okay.
No, nothing.
Nobody. Okay, nobody else has come. So thank you very much, Dan Franco, for venturing there. Seems I hope the others are not leaving me by myself this evening as we carry on the discussion. Now, here are some of the facts about the lion tamer. And you'll find that these will go in line with what Lion Franco just stated. Now, when you look at the standard club constitution and bylaw, that is going to be our requirement document that we're speaking about tonight. This is going to be our guidance document that will take us from one step to the other. Now, the standard club's constitution and bylaw states that the lion tamer shall have charge of and be responsible for the property and paraphernalia of the club, including flags, banner, gongs, and gravel. So all of those material that are branded by your club, that your club would have a possible purchase or possible pass down from your to your club or have been gifted, then as the lion tamer, this person would be responsible to make sure that these are in good order and ready for any activity that the club is having. Now, the responsibilities of the club, it goes of the lion table, my apologies, not the club, of the lion table, the responsibility speaks to setting up the meeting room. That is ensuring the property and the paraphernalia of the club are laid out before each meeting and securely stored away after each meeting. Now, remember that there are times when we will be using our flags. So, of course, dependent on how there is a guidance document that will tell you how to situate your flag, how the meeting room should be laid out, and so on. So you'll find that as the officer that is responsible for these items, the lion tamer ought to know how the meeting room should be set up. It doesn't mean that this person will have to do it themselves, but of course, they will collaborate and coordinate with other members of the club to make sure that they get them set up as ought to be. Now, it's important that you have them before the meeting, and it is also equally important that you collect them after the meeting. Whatever you receive and you put out, you should also collect. And if you're not able to collect them yourself, then you must also secure the agreement of one of your club members that they can secure these for you. Because at the end of the day, you are held accountable for this. Another responsibility is the distribution of bulletins and literatures as required at club and board meetings. For example, this could be code of ethics, line prayers, newsletter, etc. Now, we're in the virtual space now, and a lot of persons, electronic device, and so on. So sometimes some of this might be a little bit redundant. Some person might choose to have the code of ethics in a e-format as they have it on their tablet or phone, and so on, and also the lines prior. No, there is nothing wrong with that, except that always be mindful that anything can happen. So it would be good to have a backup. I have seen, for example, this evening, I was there already set up, ready to go. My computer was logged on and everything tested to make sure that video was showing and sound and everything. All of those checks happen. And then the internet went. The internet that was connected to that device went. I drew a blank. I then had to hurry now to figure out how can I transition to another device so that I'm able to quickly jump back in to the Zoom meeting to be able to present. What I'm saying is that things happen, especially in this age of electronics. I've also seen persons reading the code of ethics by their phone and the phone freeze and can't move on. And I don't know about you, but I personally I don't have the code of ethics memorized. So this is something that I have to read. What I'm basically giving those two examples to demonstrate is that even though we're in the electronic age and there's nothing wrong with having electronic version, please have a couple printed copies just in case. Now, this role can be seen that there's an overlap with the responsibilities of the secretary. As I said, you're distributing bulletin, literatures, and so on at the various meetings, right? It can be that a secretary does this too, right? So it can be seen that there's an overlap. If it seems as if there's an overlap in your club with this responsibility, what are some of the suggestions that you would have to prevent any bottlenecks or oversight? Anybody want to take a stab at that to give a response?
Good evening, Lion Franco here again. In our club, our super efficient secretary always include the land's prayer and the code of ethics on the literature of the minutes and the agenda. So that is standard. So it's always there and available in printed form. And though if we are going online and the minutes were distributed online, somewhere or another, there's going to be somebody with a printed copy of both the Lion's Prayer and the Code of Ethics. So we have no problem there.
Okay, thank you so much, Lan Franco. So as you said, in your club, your secretary does that, right? Anybody else? Is it done another way in your club? Lan Franco, you're now the only ones in the session this evening.
Maybe.
All right, I hope everybody will get warm up soon and able to respond to the questions. So yes, the way you just mentioned Lan Franco and others is one way that it can be done. It comes down to communication. Clearly communicate in your club what is the expectation of the secretary and what is the expectation for the lion tamer. And this is how you prevent bottleneck or any oversight, because the tamer might have thought that the secretary is doing it and the secretary might have thought that the tamer is doing it. So it's important that you communicate clearly what is happening. Now remember that Lions Club International really speaks about your club, your way. So it's not, while these are responsibilities of the tamer, every club, because of their culture or how they have set up the running of their club, they are free to operate according to their club culture, right? What works best for them. Okay, but the important thing is that these must be at the meeting and somebody must be responsible for them. Responsibilities continue. As a tamer, you ensure that new members sit with a different set of persons each meeting so that they are better acquainted. As you know, as lions, layers, sometimes it can be daunting to be the newbie, to be the new one on board. You come into the room, you don't know anybody, and so on. So it is important for you to be able to handle the situation where this person can feel comfortable. So as the tamer, yes, you do greet persons. Yes, you ensure that the room is set up, but you're also part of the welcoming team. In church and so on, you'd be considered a part of the hospitality team, letting persons feel welcome and comfortable in the meeting. And it's important for new members to feel this way because you want our new members to be so relaxed in the club that they continue to be in the club. It's about membership enrichment. You know, we're all friends because we have been in the club. We have our years of service and so we already know each other. So we might sit beside each other. We might be talking to each other. And sometimes, not consciously, but sometimes we're not integrating new members. So as a tamer, it's important for you to be mindful of this as the meetings are going on and you want to try and rotate new members across the breadth and among your other members so that they are better acquainted. Now, a lot of our meetings, for example, this that we're doing right now is being held in a virtual space, right? Anybody, well, other than Lion Franco, I want to make sure that you and I are not the only one in this session this evening, right? So, Lions on the call. In the virtual space, how do you think you would deal with the situation of trying to get new members better acquainted with other members during a virtual meeting? How would you suggest dealing with that?
Have them identify themselves during the meeting online.
Okay. Thank you so much, Lion Pauline. Yes, that is one way. So you identify them, you have them identify themselves, have them introduce themselves, and you could also before the meeting, you could speak to one of your member to say that we have a new line that will be on the meeting, and the new line is Navinia will be on the meeting, and you can have them that type of link going on. Thank you very much for that line, Pauline. Another thing that tamers can do is provide a name tag for new members or even name tag for other members. Sometimes we might be having a integrated meeting where multiple clubs are coming together. So sometimes it will be good to have name tags, even for persons who have been serving for a longer time, because as we come across each other, we might not know each other because we're all in our own different clubs. But if it is that we're having a meeting that we're having multiple clubs together, then name tag can be a way to go. But in your club, for new members, the tamers, you ought to make sure that these new members are able to be readily identified. Now, there are different awards and recognition that a club can get, and these can be seen through patches that are given to the club. It is the responsibility of the tamer to attach these on the club banner. So some clubs will have that quality service patch that will be awarded, and they can attach that to the club banner. So from our discussion so far, you would recognize that a lion tamer wears many hats. I love using this cartoon pictures every time I am doing this session because I'm saying that there are many hats that are worn by the lion tamer and you ought to wear them well. let's go through some of these. Greeter, we spoke about that already. The lion tamer is the official member of the greeting committee. Some places might call it hospitality, but that's we see the greeter committee. You work with the past presidents to carry out this function. So you have a group of past presidents, including the tamer, that then would handle the protocol of how is it that we will be greeting persons. Dependent on the type of meeting that you're having also, this might be that who is so designated to go and greet the zone chairperson, the region chairperson, the district governor. You might be having one of those audits that these dignitaries are coming to your club. So it's important for the protocol to be known, and it's important for the greeting team to be known to who will be greeting who will be escorting who to their set. So it's like a usher also as you're working with the club. The protocol officer, and I have a sergeant of arms here because sometimes tamers are referred to as sergeant of arms. So the protocol officer, again, you need to, as the tamer, you would get a copy of the protocol, the standard protocol that is used to govern meeting, and you will have them there. You would then know how to welcome and introduce the guests, ensuring seating is provided for all attendees. Now, there are some ways that you would greet and welcome persons, dependent if it's a written speech, if it's a written document, a verb, or a speech being given, then of course the protocol must obtain. In corporate society, corporate world, at work, we mention it as the order of precedence. Who do you recognize first, and so on and so forth. The tamer might be a refreshment coordinator. Again, it is dependent on your club. Do your club serve refreshment at meetings? If it is that your club does this, then this is something that falls under the role of the tamer. Again, the tamer themselves might not have to be the one to do it, but just know that it is part of their responsibility. So how it's coordinated, how it's organized, then that is something that they can play a part in. Administration. Now, again, this can be something that have a link with the secretary, and then therefore it has to be managed. So as a part of the administrative team, the tamer have to ensure that the meeting registers are signed by all attendees, and this will include your guests. Once it is that the registers are signed at the end of the meeting, then the register should be handed over to the membership coordinator and the club secretary. Sometimes this can be the role of the secretary also. So again, this is where communication is going to be important. In my club, the Lions Club of New Kingston, the register is done by the secretary, right? But again, this is what is set according to the bylaws. So we will present on it as is. But remember, it's your club, your way. What works for your club, that's fine. This is just some consideration as you guide yourself in this role. Raffle coordinator. You do know that you will have your inner club raffle. So you might have a raffle that is going on at your meeting. Members might be asked to make donation or to purchase items. For example, if it is that you are having your face-to-face meeting, you might be having one face-to-face meeting per month, and then you could have one or two persons each time make a donation for a raffle prize or to purchase a raffle prize. And then you, as the tamer, would be the one to coordinate the in-meeting, in-club raffle that is going on. Another important aspect of this rule is opening and closing activity. How do you start your year? How do you end your year? So you start your year as anybody that is responsible, anybody that that must be held to an account. So you start your year to prepare an in-house budget for your raffle. So what is it that you expect to do? So whether it is that you're asking somebody to donate or whichever approach you're taking, the reality is that there is a cost to it. So you prepare your budget for the raffle and you submit it to the board of directors for it to be approved in the overall budget of the club. At the end of the year, you are expected to give an account. You have to give an account of the club's property and paraphernalia that are to be passed on to the incoming tamer. You are held responsible for this. Now, a lot of clubs are now going into using not only the standard club banner, but they're also using pull-up banners, feather banners, and other different things that's a club property and will be used during meetings. You want to ensure that when you are collecting this as an incoming tamer, you want to ensure that when you are collecting them, you do a review of everything that you're collecting to know the state in which you are collecting it. Because at the end of the day, now in June, as you're closing out the administrative year, next year, you're expected to be handing these things over in the same conditions that you would have received them to the next tamer that is coming in. So you want to make sure that you give an account for this. A rose by any other name is still a rose. There's that song that I like and I'm using it. If you 2 slides back, there was an asterisk beside Sergeant of Arms. And the question is that why do you think a lion tamer is commonly referred to as a Sergeant at Arms? Why? So the lion tamer is someone that can be elected, can be an elected member of the board of directors. They play the role of protocol officer. They are charged with maintaining order for club meeting, that is logistic and administration. And this underscores the importance of the role of a tamer. So whether you're referred to as a sergeant at arms or you are referred to as a lion tamer, the reality is that this is an important role. It takes somebody who is good at planning. This is some of the characteristics now of somebody who would be a good tamer. Somebody who is good at planning, somebody who is able to prepare items and have control of those items, somebody who is good at logistics. Those are some of the characteristics, the good characteristics that a tamer ought to have. A tamer ought to also be able to collaborate with others. Because if you recognize that it doesn't matter what is it that you're doing. Let's go back to this slide. Whether you are a greeter, protocol officer, refreshment coordinator, involved in administration, or a raffle coordinator, the reality is that you must be working with others. So therefore, it would be good if as a tamer, you are able to communicate effectively, whether it is written or verbal, and you're also able to work along with persons as you collaborate to get these activities done. So those are some of the characteristics of being a tamer. Thank you for your attention for that segment. Are there any questions now for the lion tamer segment? Okay. Not having any questions so far, we'll move now into this. I'm gonna want to take us a step back. We're gonna move then into the tail twister. I like to refer to them as the vibes master. They're gonna take you a step back in time. Now, I'm going to stop sharing in terms of the presentation mode, and there's a document that I want to bring to your attention. Unfortunately, as I said to you, I had my connectivity went, and therefore I can't hyperlink that document. But let me bring up the document that I want to bring to your attention. I'm hoping that you're seeing this document. Can somebody confirm that you're seeing a Word document?
Yes, we are.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. So this is Touchstone story number 91, and I got it from the Lions Club International website, and it's talking about tail twisters and how tail twisters came about. So the reality is that we're looking that tail twisters have added elements of fun and surprise to the Lions Club meeting since the 1920s. So it's not just now, it's not a now thing, it's been around for a long time. So having fun while doing good has been a Lions specialty from the beginning. In the early 1920s, many US clubs had pep committees charged with enlivening routine club meetings. Lions soon entrusted the merrymaking fun to function to a single energetic and enthusiastic officer known as a tail twister. Students of tail twisting lore will find rich veins of anecdote and remembrance among longtime Lions and also Lions in publications. How did the name Lion Twister came about? The World's Biggest Doors, a 1949 history of Lions, described this origin story as recounted by Lion founder Melvin Jones. One Sunday afternoon, 3 or 4 of us were discussing this matter of putting pep into the meetings. One fellow who had been born on a farm said we needed to do what used to be done on the farm when a cow refused to go through the gate. Somebody would grab her by the tail and twist. We all laughed, but one of the boys said, "Why isn't that a good name? Tail Twister." The fact that real lions, also have tails gave the name another amusing twist. Now optional for all Lions Club, the role of tail twister has been an established office on the charter bylaws for decades. But as a 1941 article in the Lions magazine made clear, of all the officers in the club, the tail twister, had no rigid code, no well-defined plan of action. He must be a lion of originality. And this is in fact so. You still will not find it in the code, in the bylaws or anything regarding the tail twister. Indeed, tail twisters have been remarkably creative in promoting fun and fellowship and boosting club treasures by twisting treasuries by twisting small fines from members for minor breaches of club rules, such as not wearing a name tag or talking during a guest speaker's presentation. The fine system is both autocratic and democratic. No member can appeal a tail twister levy, and no member is above paying for it. Now, this is something that I will not go any further with the sharing of this, but this is something that I will have, it will be included in the package that when we send out the recording. So I hope that little bit of history would have worked for you, so you see how far back this role of tail twisting is coming. So we're going now into the tail twisting. You're now seeing my presentation again?
Yes, we are.
Perfect. Okay, so I have some questions, and I'm really hoping that the others on the call will start participate. So here we go. The tail twister position is optional, true or false?
True.
True.
Okay. I'm getting some answers here. I got a true and I got a false. Right?
I think it's true.
Okay. All right. So hold your answer. So give me answers and remember them because we're going to go over them. I'm not going to tell you if you're correct at this point. Okay, here we go. Here's the next one. What is the maximum times a member can be fined during a meeting?
One.
Sorry?
One.
One. Okay. Thank you so much. Anybody else? So one would be B. So
Two
A,
times.
two times. That's D. Anybody else?
Well, I'm here to learn about that because some meetings that I've been in, I have seen one person being charged on the same suggestion twice for not even two separate times, twice in the same moment.
Okay. All right. All right. So
Like a
I'm going
double
to
whammy.
yes, so that's what I see. That's what I'm hearing. But in the court of law, double jeopardy can't work, eh? All right. Thank you for that. So we'll see what is revealed as we go through the presentation. All right. The last question now. The tail twister cannot be fined under no circumstances. True or false?
False.
False.
False. Any true? All right, good. All right. All right, so let's see how we are doing for our responses. Facts about the tail twister. As I said to you, I consider this person the vibes master, right? It's just good fun. It's about camaraderie. This is what the tail twister position is all about. You promote harmony, good fellowship, life, and enthusiasm. We do know that a lot of times the meetings can be mundane and routine and so on. So how do we elevate it then? Let me use one of those words that we're using nowadays. How do we elevate these meetings, right? What do we do? What can we add? And the Lion's response to that is to add a tail twister, the role of the tail twister. It's an optional role, yes, but it's still a very important role. So a tail twister can use as appropriate stunts, game, and of course, imposition of fines on the club members. We will see how this works. Governance of the tail twister, right? Here we go. There shall be no ruling from their decision in imposing a fine, provided that no fine shall exceed an amount fixed by the board of directors of the club. So it would be good for each administrative year, the board of director make a decision to say that the fine shall be, I don't know, in Jamaica, let me say Jamaican dollars, $200. $200 could be the fine. If the board of director did not set that, then each meeting that discussion could be had by the tail twister to the president to set the amount, right? Lion Franco, that was you that spoke about the double whammy?
Yes, it was. And based on what
Okay.
you said, I have also noticed that certain tail twisters make up their own fine, and it goes up and down based on, let's call it, the offense or what the offense that caused them to be fined in the first place.
Okay. So
So
that can
it would be good to really have a set amount.
again, so I'm going to pull back for what Lions Club International says. Your club, your way. So yes, it would be good if there is a set amount, but there's nothing wrong necessarily if it is that at the discretion, it could be say, oh, you know, that is that level of that level of charge that you need to get that's a serious one, and so you have to get a stronger fine for that, you know. But again, it must be in discussion and communication with the club president, right?
Okay.
So again, is either the board of directors set what the fine is at the start of the year, or the tail twister is at liberty to have a discussion with the president at each meeting to say, hey, this is what the fine is going to be. Okay? All right. So let's talk about the double whammy now. If you notice what is being said here, no member shall be fined more than twice at a meeting. So that is the cutoff point. As a tail twister, you have to know this. So we had some persons, let me see, some persons had mentioned, what did we get? We got 1 time B, and I think we also had 2 times. That was one of the response that was given, correct? So if you did say 2 times, then you are correct. No member shall be fined more than twice in any one meeting, right? Now, the tail twister may not be fined except by a unanimous vote of all members present. So again, if we go back to our number 3 question, where the answer that was coming from you was false. The tail twister cannot be fined under no circumstances. You're correct. It is false. They can be fined, but the only circumstances under which they can be fined is that it must be unanimous vote by all members present. So if somebody raised to say, I wish to twist the twister and I want to find the twister, if some of the meetings say yes, go ahead, and some of the meetings say no, then the twister cannot be fined, right? All monies collected by the tail twister shall be immediately turned over to the treasurer and a receipt given. Tell me something. In your club, do you use a receipt? Do you give a receipt when the money is turned over?
My recollection is that no receipt is issued at that point, but an announcement is made of the amount to everybody that is in the meeting. So I guess it would go into the minutes.
Thank you very much for that, Franco. And in essence, that is a form of receipt. So while a receipt book, this is what the club constitution and bylaws says, right? But let's talk about practicality too. So I am giving you the information and the guidance according to the club constitution and bylaw. But remember too that let us also put it in context of what it is that we're doing. You are correct. I am yet to see a meeting that I am in at any level where a receipt is given when the money is turned over to the treasurer. However, when the fines are tallied, it is announced in the meeting, and as you mentioned, it is part of the minutes. In essence, that is where you have your receipt going on, because the treasurer would have said, I have received $1,000 Jamaican dollars from the tail twisting activities, and the club then would recognize that has been received and it is placed in the minutes. So in essence, that takes care of the accountability part of having a receipt. Now, the tail twister again is a vibes master of the club. You ready? Y'all should be shouting. I say, yes, Lion Naveen, I'm ready.
We are ready.
Lion Franco,
Yes, we are.
Oh, excellent, excellent. Okay. So let's talk a bit about responsibilities, right? Fining. This is an important part of twisting. However, It must not be done without a fun element. Don't just find for fine's sake. Come up with creative ways, no? Ways in which you need to engage persons, right? For example, the person might not have on their vest, as was mentioned in the historical concept before the start of this session. You can find them, or you might have known something about the persons. So some a little birdie tell you something, and it's in a fun way. When you will find the person, don't do it in such a way that it becomes overburdened and person hesitate to be a part of it. Tail twister, put new members at ease, right? Put new members at ease. This is how you're going to help the membership enrichment and engagement of your club. This is how you're collaborating with membership to ensure that new members are put at ease and they stick in the club and continue to participate. So new members may be shy and not fully integrated in the club. So Twister, please use fun and interactive ways to introduce them so that they can feel part of the camaraderie. Nowadays at various meetings and so on at work, you might have some ice-breaking activities. So my name is Naveen, and I've been in a session already, and the trainer said, Naveen, introduce yourself with using the first letter of your name as an adjective, right? So there are different ways that you could use. I'm sorry, that is what came to my head. Might not be the most fun way, but it's one of those ways that you could use. You, as the tail twister, you help the president to manage the meeting. A lot of times the meeting's happening, and sometimes there's some little side meetings happening, some conversation happening. You know, we haven't seen each other all month, so we're talking about something or the other, right? So one of the ways that you help to control the meeting is that you just subtly, just be not disruptive, but subtly, you let them realize that, hey, I seen you now. And you can go ahead and do a little bit of tail twisting right there. Now, again, you are managing it in such a way that it's not disruptive, and you're helping the president to maintain order in the meeting. Now, I don't know about you, but when I'm at meeting, I am very mindful of who the tail twisters are, Although you know that they have a little collaboration going on, right? A little syndicate going on, where sometimes you don't even know they have the little birdie, and sometimes that little birdie sitting right beside you, and you don't even know. And they talk all type of things to the little birdie, only to then realize that your name is called and you have to stand up. And the same thing you tell a little bird is the same thing the twister is talking about. It ever happened to you yet? I know it has certainly happened to me. Okay.
That's a good suggestion.
It wasn't it was all right, Franco. Yes, ma'am. But they will see the room, they will see the room with the little birdies. And you have to be careful, man, because they're active in the room. Okay. So when to twist?
One more thing is that maybe as far as the new members are concerned, probably the tail twister could pull the sponsor aside, who would likely have known them prior to them being a lion, and ask them a few things about them, what jokes they like or whatever, to sort of bring them into the meeting in a more active way.
Yes, that is also a good suggestion. Thank you very much for that. Okay. When to twist? Twisting can be done at any time during the meeting, except if a guest speaker is on the floor. You don't want the guest speaker to feel as if you're being rude or disrespectful, right? If it is a lion, they will understand, but if you have guest speakers that are non-lions, they might not understand, right? So while twisting can happen anytime during the meeting, it must be managing in such a way that is not disruptive. And sometimes the agenda can be a bit long. So you want to manage it in such a way that you keep everything tight in the time that it's set for. Now, because of that, some clubs, most clubs, leave it to the end of their meeting. Here is a guide. Twisting must not interfere with the progress of the program or the agenda, as I mentioned before. However, humor must be interjected when the atmosphere becomes tense or meeting is getting off base. Again, the twister helps the president to manage the meeting, right? So we might be talking, let's talk about money. The fines are not fines, sorry. The financial status of the club or resources or something's happening and it might lead to a tense moment. The twister can in a controlled manner introduce humor there to ease the atmosphere and let us get back to the basis of lionism. As a twister, the twister need to talk and welcome visitors, but you only find lions. You don't find visitors that come to the club. Some literature will say that tail twisters should be readily identifiable. Do you agree or disagree? Should you know who your tail twisters are? Lions,
Maybe it would be more fun if you don't know, but the tail twisters are usually known prior to the meeting that I've been in. They're usually known before the meeting.
okay.
We usually use one tail twister throughout the whole year, but I think it would be fun if you have incognito twister. You don't know who it's gonna be.
I like the way you think, Lion Franco. Thank you for that. Anybody else? Do you agree? Should your tail twisters be readily identifiable? Yes or no?
No.
No, Landon. Aha, I like the way you think too. You are one of those that will have a little birdies seeded around the room, you know. Okay, Lion Christine.
Said no for me. Good night, everyone.
Oh, good night. Good night. Okay. So yes. So some persons will think that it adds to the fun that your tail twister is not readily identifiable. Now, yes, in your club for your regular club meeting, you will know who these are because you know that who would have been so voted in the position. But sometimes you're going to zone meeting or region meeting and you might not know who was the assigned tail twister for that meeting. So there is that to consider. Line Pauline, you're going to say something?
Yes, Lion Lavina. I know, especially at the club levels, when we do have the known, but just to have more fun in there when you have the little birdies that you don't know who the birdies are.
That's so true. That's so true. And you're there, you're talking, you sit right beside the birdie, and you talk, and you do all type of things right beside like a birdie until you hear your name called. Lavinia, please stand. Lord help me. All right. Thank you for that. We'll move to the next slide. Now, effective tail twisters, personalities. You want someone who is outgoing, have a good sense of humor, comfortable in front of a group of people, and able to laugh at self. If you can't laugh at yourself, you have to be able to laugh at yourself to be a good jokester. And this is being a good jokester is what it takes in this role. Skills, good time management. Because again, you're helping the president with the time of the meeting, but you're not taking it over. Plan. Some person they're off the cuff, joke and can just at the drop of a hat go. But some persons need to plan. Like me, if I was in the role, I definitely would have to plan. It's good if you are an eloquent speaker. It would be good. Quick. You be alert as something drops on. Being able to twist it would be very good. So be alert to what is happening in the meeting and let your imagination run wild. It is a part of this role. Are you a tail twister? Let's see. So here are my, as I tell you, I have to plan if I'm doing this. So here are my two jokes. Boss. The boss is having a discussion with the employee, right? Do you believe that there's life after death? The employee said, no, that can't be proved. Boss, well, there is now. Yesterday, after you left work, saying that you had to go to your grandma's funeral, she called the office looking for you. Right? That's my first. Then the second joke that I've given you is, why did the employee put a glass of apple juice on top of her laptop whenever she closed it? She was considering cyber security. Right? But nobody not getting that one. All right. See? Okay. So, two persons. Open up the floor to two persons. Go. Give a joke or something to prove your mettle as a tail twister. Do we have any hands going up? Nobody not taking that one on?
Unfortunately, I'm not good at jokes. I'm not good at jokes at all. I've heard jokes that make me hit the floor, and if I try and give them, nobody laughs. So
I understand. Lion Franco. Nobody want to try. Nobody want to put themselves on the spot right now to prove that you're a tail twister. You're ready for your role? Lion Pauline? Lion Andrea?
That's tail twister is the only thing I'm treasuring. The two T's have never been in the club. I don't want to start now.
I understand, Lion Pauline. All right. Nobody want to at the drop of the hat. But you see, I'm going to give you more time to practice. Remember, the role that you're going in is tail twister. At the drop of that, you have to be alert. You have to be able to go. All right. Thank you very much for that. Let's move on to the rest. So here are some do's and don'ts as we mindful of the time. Here are some do's and don'ts of the lion tail twister. As a tail twister, demand respect. Do demand respect. Demand it from everyone. Use fines and whatever tactics is necessary. Do keep fines in a reasonable range. Again, have a discussion with your club president and so on so that you can set the fines. Have a no change policy. What you get is what you keep unless you agree otherwise. That would use good judgment. So if let's say you're using Jamaican currency and the fine is $200 and someone gave you $1,000 to pay for the $200. This is basically saying that you don't have to give them back any change. But again, use good judgment. Use your position to keep the meetings interesting. Use your position to maintain order and of course to keep the meetings on track. Right? So those are some of the do's that we want you to be mindful of. Also want you to be center of attention. And that's one of the reasons why we spoke about some of the good characteristics and personality of lion tail twister. You want to be the center of attention. You have to be somebody who is comfortable being the center of attention. Collect fines. Collect fines to help build the administrative fund. Basically, you are contributing to the fundraising of the club. So whatever amount that is set, you are contributing to raising funds within the club. Be polite, be pleasant, and have fun. It is about having fun for this role. You are promoting camaraderie, you are promoting membership engagement, and let members relax. A lot of times we're coming from a hard day at work already. So when we come to the meeting, it's going to be good for us to have a nice, relaxful atmosphere as we serve. We're serving, but we're having fun while we're serving. Be creative, be professional. Find members who do not wear their lion vest, emblem, or pin. As you know, our lion branded items are a staple at our meetings and our activities. So if persons come and they don't have these on, you are at liberty to find them. Do find members who are unruly, disrespectful, or holding private meetings. Those little sidebar meetings that sometimes are disrupting the meeting. Go ahead and find them. You have the permission of the Constitution to do so. Here are some don'ts. Don't embarrass anyone. And over time, you'll know persons who are, easy to embarrass and those who are not easy to embarrass. But whatever you do, try your best. When you are twisting persons, do not do it in an embarrassing way. Don't use vulgar jokes or language. No private fines. All fines must be done in the public. Do not fine your guests, including guest speakers. Do not interrupt the president or the ongoing program. So you do all that you have to do, but be mindful of this. And as we are going now, there's so much that is happening. When you're growing up, you always heard, whether from your parents or other adults in your life, that don't speak about, when you're in public or having any meetings or the conversation, don't talk about politics, religion, and money, and those things don't, because they can create one thing. It's even more important nowadays. There's so many things that are happening nowadays that if you start a political discussion, it can be blown out of proportion. So you want to still take those like a memory gem from back in the day and do not. Just keep away from those type of topics. Don't make an issue out of a member who does not want to pay a fine. You can take an IOU or just simply walk away. Don't make a big deal out of it. But members on the call, members in a club, as part of your orientation, as part of getting involved in the club, ought to be exposed with the fact of that tail twisting is a thing in lionism, so that they know that if they are being twisted, they ought to participate and pay the fine. Don't make anyone feel uncomfortable. Do not make members feel unwelcome. Remember, you have a part of the role to include new members, to create a sense of camaraderie in the meeting. So you don't want your members to be unwelcome. Do not be crude. Do not be crude. Please be imaginative. Use your imagination and go wild. So the key to a good lion twister: be in the know. How do you be in the know? Have your little birdies, man. You see that those birds on the screen? Have them, man. Have your friends and so on. Be included in the various groups and so on. And sometimes some interesting things are popping up on person's status, They may post a little thing here or there. Who knows? You can track that too. So who is celebrating? What are they celebrating? Any new car, any vacation, any promotion? What is happening in your club member's life? You can also link with membership, because sometimes membership will know. But you want to do it in such a way that membership don't give away the fact that you have a little twisting thing going on. Right? So be in the note. As I said before, be alert. Be quick at the draw. As something drop, be ready to pick it up so that you're able to twist it. Okay? The key to being in the know is to foster camaraderie and creativity. Tail twisting is more than a joke. It's clear. It's no joke. Did you get that?
Yes.
I hope you did, because like you, I'm not a good joker either. However, so again, this on the standard club structure, this role is optional. However, as we would have gone through the presentation and the discussion, we would have seen how important this role is. The meeting can be mundane. We can be talking about such serious matters. There are so many needs out there, and a lot of times we have limited resources to stretch to fill all of those needs. So why not have a little bit of levity to the meeting, a little bit of joking here and there, done in such a way that it's not disruptive to the agenda. We still meet and achieve the objectives of the meeting, but we do it in such a way that we're having fun while we are working. So the job of a tail twister, in some view, tail twisting is the hardest job in lionism. I wonder if you agree or disagree with me. Okay, why is this so? It takes someone who is uninhibited and willing to spend time researching timely issues, planning humorous activities, and how to make members relax before, during, and after a stress-filled day. Remember, we're all coming from work. We have to deal with the traffic. I don't know about you in the other countries, but the traffic here in Jamaica during peak hours, it's just crazy right now. And we drive a certain way too. Not only that, but you spend 8 hours a day at work. So many things happening, so many deadlines need to be met. You're already stressed. It is just the nature of what is happening on, and then you deal with traffic, and then you come there now to the meeting. So I am looking at the tail twister as the salvation to a good club meeting. I want you to help me to just relax. Forget all of that happening, my deadlines at work, the internet connectivity that went down 2 minutes before the session's supposed to start, and all of that. I want you to help me to forget that so that I can relax, have a laugh. Just sit back and have a good chuckle. I say, boy, oh boy, really? That is what you come with? And we just laugh and have fun in the meeting. So some person says that the job of the tail twister is the hardest job in lionism, right? Whether you agree, yes or no, they have a role to play. They have a very important job to do. And it ought to be one that is fun, get persons involved, and build camaraderie. So tips from Tail Twister. When putting this presentation together, I would have reached out to some tail twisters some known tail twisters, and here are some of the tips that they would have said. Know your club members. This will enable you to know what approach to take with each person. If you're twisting in an unfamiliar environment, link with persons who know the members. As Lion Franco had said, if for new members, you could possibly speak with their sponsors so you get an appreciation of who they are, what is it that they are involved with, so that you can have them in the mix. Be inclusive in your twisting. Don't be seen to be twisting one set of persons. And these persons can feel as if you're picking on them, right? So you have to make sure that you spread it out. And then other persons might wonder, why is it that you are not including me? So it can be both sides. So make sure that you are inclusive in your twisting. Include at least one good joke. End the meeting with laughter. That is the tip coming from the tail twisters. Now, in conclusion, while both of these roles are optional, according to the standard club structure, we know based on experience, based on the culture in our clubs, we know that these roles are important. Both roles strengthen the club structure and enrich the club culture. The tamer is the sergeant at arms, coordinating and assisting with logistics. The tail twister is a vibes master, helping to add the fun factor as we carry out the work of lionism. Final tips and takeaway: practice makes perfect. Be prepared, plan, be consistent, have fun. I wish you all the best during your year as you start your role come July 1st. Lions, we serve. Thank you for your attention. I'll take any questions that you might have now. Okay. If there are no other, Lion Louis, if there are no other comments or chats. Oh, thank you so much. There were some comments coming in the chat. Unfortunately, I was in presentation mode and was not seeing it. So yes, I did see and so Sizu, I hope I pronounce your name properly, that you were speaking about the Lion Tamer, take control of club assets, yes. Lion Chris, I see microboard activities. Okay, and I'm also seeing persons. This was when we were asking those questions. Okay, good. I'm seeing the answers now. Yes, Lion Shizu, the tail twister can be twisted as we did see. All right. Thank you so much. And I'm seeing, Lion Mariel, you're saying we have moved away from electing a tail twister and now choose a random member. Interesting. Okay, I understand. So that's also the fun factor, you know. That's the fun factor. You don't know who is a twister, right? Here's a question I have for you though. In your club, do you have your twister and your tamer? Are they in one person or you have it separate? How do you do it in your club?
Hi, good night. I'm Lavina. We have them separate. They're two different persons.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for that. Yes,
Okay.
I do know that some clubs are keeping them separate and some clubs will have them joined. Again, it's really dependent on your club, the resource that you have and so on. So I know because of resources and availability of persons, some clubs have opted to have these two positions in one. Nothing wrong with that. It's really about your club, your way. Okay. So I think I have, and like Andrea, you're saying it's separate. Okay. All right. I am not seeing any other comments. My apologies for not having seen the comments while I was presenting.
Well, in my club, both roles are separate, and the tail twister usually knows prior to the meeting because that person usually go ahead and prepare some games or quizzes, especially if it's an online meeting, and we have fun and games, not only just twisting.
Okay, that's true. That's true. And you know, what is that game? There's this online platform that I've seen a lot of meetings and so on have been using. They have been using is it Kalulu? Am I pronounce it properly? I think it is. And you
Kahoot,
just sorry?
Kahoot.
Kahoot, is he? And there's no twist on the meeting right now, because there you go, Navina. See, this is the reason why I get twisted up. Thank you very much for that, Elijah Dees. I appreciate that. All right, so are there any other questions or comments? Okay, I'm not seeing any hands going up and I'm not seeing anything else in the chat. Thank you so much for your participation. Lion Louis, are you with me?
Yes, I am.
Okay, perfect. So I will turn right back over to you then, Lion Louis.
Okay, thank you very much, Lion Lavinia. On behalf of all of us here this evening, let me take this opportunity to extend heartfelt thanks to Lion Lavinia for her session this evening. I must say, I think in our club now, it's an appointed role, but back in the day when it was an elected role, I have never ever had the opportunity of serving as a tail twister. And according to Lion Lavinia, maybe I should learn some good jokes because I feel that it's a required skill for a tail twister. And I don't have any repertoires of jokes. So I stay away from that particular role just for that. And honestly, that's the only reason Lion Lavinia. But I've been in Tamer a few times, so I must say it's quite a rewarding role. And I'm hoping that our incoming officers will feel that way about the positions in which they're going to serve their club. So on behalf of all of us here this evening, Lion Lavinia, thank you very much for a most appreciated session, and I am sure they are looking forward to participating actively in their club by serving in those roles. And those of you who did not realize it can be a combined role, I think now that's what my club does. We combine the roles. So whoever is serving as tail twister normally is the teamer. So we're hoping that in the future dispensations, you may consider it as a club also. So Lion Lavinia, thank you very much for your session. And to our participants, thank you very much for gracing us with your presence this evening and for participating. I know some of you were a bit on the quiet side, but we're hoping that as time go by, because your roles are very seeable in a sense of speaking roles in your club, and you will be seen. So as time goes by, you will be a little bit more outspoken. And Maria, it was nice seeing you after a very long time. And to all our other participants, thank you very much. And we look forward to seeing you again in another session. Good night, everyone.